What's happening, gang? It's your boy Retro back again with another reaction video. Yeah. Today we got another huge update. You guys can probably already tell that it is going down. Just by that title alone, you guys are definitely going to want to check this one out. So we got another major bombshell coming in the whole Jeffrey Epstein scandals. We're now seeing Trump's cabinet members being implicated. We got the director of Human Health Services, RFK Jr., being exposed for flying not once but twice on Jeffrey Epstein's private aircraft, guys, and I'm excited to get to this one, so we're not hop straight into it. All I ask that you guys please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Without further ado, let's hop straight into it, folks. Check this one out.
Well, this is a proxy for what we've seen with so many big stories throughout the years, where the American people just want to know what's going on with
whatever
assassination attempts. You know, whether it's the one in Butler on Trump or the one that was successful against JFK, the Russia collusion hoax, the situation with Epstein. Everyone understands that there might not be a,
smoking gun.
Right. But no one feels very satisfied with the level of investigation that was taking place or the transparency. And it seems that the FBI and other government agencies care more about managing the narrative than actually just revealing the information that needs to be revealed.
All right. So there we have it. That was the great Molly Hemingway, a very respected journalist, saying that American people are not going to stop asking about this by you trying to dismiss or push it off. It's just going to make us want to know even more. And I got this clip that I found very interesting. This coming from the Benny Johnson show. I want you guys to check this out.
Whether or not it's a list per se, people know you don't go to jail for trafficking when you're not trafficking to anybody but yourself. The argument wasn't even that it was only traffic for Epstein. The argument was that I guess they didn't get anybody else. Who knows? So there can only be so many theories here. Either it's the absolute truth and everybody should accept it and move on, which is probably not going to happen and is probably not the case. Then the question is Trump, in his willingness to always want to own a situation and not look like he's getting embarrassed or played, that would be the response. You'd get the same response out of him from the reporter. Someone comes up with a question that sort of calls into question his administration, and he wants to own it and look like he's not getting thrown under the bus or played. And so he says, yeah, I'm owning this. How can you ask a question on this when we have bigger issues to talk about? But the bottom line, Bondi looks like she misspoke, and her trying to walk her way out of the Fox News interview, I don't think it's going to work on anybody who appreciates semantics, when the question to her was, it looks like the DOJ is going to release the list of Epstein clients. Is that really going to happen? And her answer is, the file sitting on my desk. Yes, there were other files, but the question was quite specific. And there's no list. I'm not sure if there's a list. Everybody knew what that proverbial list was. She's got to walk that back. Patel's got to walk back his statement from a year and a half ago that Bill Gates is on the list. He's, panicking that the list is going to be released. And now it looks like, if they're calling us conspiracy theorists, then I guess it means that the FBI is being run by the same Epstein conspiracy theorists.
I played that clip because he had a very great point. I mean, it would have been different if they weren't so confident. The way Bondi spoke was so confident in that interview, saying that the files were right on her desk. We did have a different story if she was like, I haven't seen the files, I have to review them, and I think, or I would it was all speculation, but just the way she was so sure and certain about it is what blows my mind, that they're now walking it back and almost trying to make us seem like we're crazy or we're lunatics for continuing to ask about it. Makes me sad. The clip I want you guys to see, this one coming from a very trustable, reliable source. This is Alan Dershowitz. He was actually on the Epstein case, the defense attorney for, or one of the defense attorneys for Epstein. So if you believe anyone, I would believe this guy. And he's saying some very interesting things. I couldn't leave this one. I wanted you guys to see this one.
I know for a fact documents are being suppressed, and they're being suppressed to protect individuals. I know the names of the individuals. I know why they're being suppressed. I know who's suppressing them, but I'm bound by confidentiality from a judge and cases, and I can't disclose what I know. But I hand to God, I know the names of people whose files are being suppressed in order to protect them, and that's wrong.
Just out of curiosity, without names, are these politicians, business leaders, both?
They're everything.
All right, so that's the former defense attorney, one of the defense attorneys of Jeffrey Epstein, saying he knows for certain that there is more names, information, details that are being suppressed from the public, and he is bound by confidentiality. He can't say anything because he's taken a sworn oath to keep all this a secret. But it just makes me just think about the possibility what's actually inside of those files. Maybe there is a nation compromising information, things that would be detrimental to the United States, our country, and at that point, do we want to know the information if it's that detrimental or compromising to our nation? Like, who's actually in these files? Also, we're seeing that there are some innocent individuals in these flight logs, and the Jeffrey Epstein logs as well. We're seeing RFK Jr. He was in there.
You weren't ever on Jeffrey Epstein's jet, were you?
I was on Jeffrey Epstein's jet 2 times. I was on it in 1993, and I was on it and I went to Florida with my wife and 2 children to visit my mom over Easter. My wife had some kind of relationship with Ghislaine Maxwell, and they offered us a ride to Palm Beach. So I went then, and then on another occasion, I flew again with my family.
All right, you guys, so that was Human Health Services Director RFK Jr. admitting he's came out and he said, I've been open and honest from the beginning, which then brings out the question, how many innocent folks would have had their, their name tarnished, their image ruined by the release of some of these files? The flight logs are saying he just visited family in Florida and did some fossil hunting, but this is way before we seen or anyone actually knew about what was going on behind the scene with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. So, I mean, I don't know, guys. I'm a little bit torn on this one. I'm not sure what's in those files, but it seems like they could bring great harms to not only, some of these individuals that were innocent, but to our country as a whole. Then we got Victor Davis Hanson here sitting down with Glenn Beck in an interview. He said some very interesting things on the point. I feel like this guy is a very good journalist. So I wanted you guys to check this one out, just see what he has to say.
What do you think this is really? Because I don't think it's about Epstein. What do you think this is really about?
I think it's pretty clear now that Epstein had no talent other than blackmail, and he was not a financier. He was not a captain of finance at all. What he did is he invited very powerful people to his island or his New York home, filmed them, and then he bribed them and he shook them down and said, I'm going to be your quote unquote financial advisor. And in exchange for that, I'm not going to release all that stuff. And whether, there were some pretty big people. So why isn't it being exposed? Because I think there are people in the establishment. I don't know if they partook in his sick things he was doing, but they feel they have some association with him, and they have they gave him money to invest when there was no reason to hire someone like that. There were much better financial gurus, but he got $500 million somehow from people who were mainstream establishmentarians on the basis that he was going to blackmail him. I think that's how he made his money, and I think those names are numerous. And I think the Trump administration thought, well, we're going to release this, and there's some crazy people that we don't care about are going to be embarrassed. And then all of a sudden, they got a lot of calls and said, why are you doing this? I didn't do this. I went down to the island once. I was on a plane. I didn't touch anybody. And they're saying, and now you're going to release my name and I'll be guilty by, I'm not going to. And I think that's what's happening. There's a lot of people who were very powerful that were giving him money or were trafficking with him. Not necessarily all of them engaging in what he was doing, but just the association with him. And I think they're putting pressure on people. I really do.
Does there come a time when you just have to say, I'm really sorry, but the country needs its credibility. These offices need their credibility. And if you're not guilty, then, I'll be there for you and look at your case and everything else. But, if you're guilty, you're guilty. Yeah. We have to restore the credibility or we don't have a country.
Well, you summed up exactly what Pam Bondi and the FBI and people said to us in February. That's exactly what they said. And then something has changed in their attitude once they got into the data, the material. And the conspiracists say, well, there's officials involved. I don't know if I think it's more maybe the donor class or people across the political spectrum that are very powerful, influential, and some of them were very terrified of Jeffrey Epstein. And that's it. I think you have to start with the premise: how does somebody with no financial experience end up with no proven ability as a master of Wall Street with $500 million? And when you start looking at who was giving him money to invest, these were people who would never give him money and let him invest their money with that background. And yet they did. And the reason they did, I think, is that he showed them pictures or he entrapped them. So something has happened in the administration's attitude from February until now. And I think they would say, well, we went in there and there's a bunch of lurid pictures and we don't want to release that. And he didn't get murdered or anything. We're pretty clear about. So it's kind of ancient history. And I think the people who, on the right, the conservatives, say, well, just tell us, is there a list and who was on it? Because we'll make our own conjectures. And I think eventually I don't think they can stop it. I think there's too many people that want to know.
And I definitely agree with Victor Davis Hanson on this one. I mean, there is way too much, pressure from the public behind this one. People want to know what's going on. We've been teased about this one for way too long. And the way the Trump administration had got hopes up so high and then let us down, saying that everything we're looking for does not exist, makes folks want it even more. And honestly, I don't think that this is them trying to hide or cover up anything for President Donald Trump. I'll tell you that right now. And I'm almost for certain that Trump's not, even though Elon Musk said that the reason why we're not getting is because Trump is in the Epstein files. I'll tell you right now, he is not. Because if he was, I know for a fact that the Biden administration, even if it wasn't old Joe Biden, someone in the Biden administration would have leaked that in order to win the 2024 presidential election. They would not have let Trump get, skate away without releasing that to the public to say, oh, this is the guy that you want to be your president, the leader of the free world. Oh, okay. So that right there, I just throw that all the way out the window. There has got to be some more dangerous information, sensitive information to our nation within those files. And it makes folks want to see it even more. We got Representative Tim Burkett going in on this. And I like to listen to what he has to say because he's just like me, a straight shooter. He's going to tell it exactly how it is, not sparing many words. Let's check out what he had to say.
I think the files existed at one time. I think they were destroyed in the previous administration. And I think if they'd ever had anything on Trump, it would have been out day one.
Agreed.
Under the Biden administration. And I think there's some very prominent people. There's Hollywood people, but I think there's world leaders too. And would it have caused economic disruption around the globe? Maybe, but I don't really care. I want to.
Do you think there's a theory? Is there a theory, perhaps, that not none, but maybe some of the people on the list didn't do anything wrong, and this would be a terrible guilt by association to put their names out, just to put everybody's name out? No one's been charged with a crime. Put all these people's names out, and suddenly, because they had an interaction with Epstein that was completely benign, they're labeled as one of his buddies?
What's Miss Maxwell doing in jail? What did she do? Where is that? Who did she provide whatever she did? Why is she in jail? That's got to be a question that should be asked at some point. But again, under the previous administration, we're not going to get that. Dead men tell no tales. He's dead. And
well, I just want to be clear what you're saying. Are you saying the previous administration destroyed everything, or are you saying that the Trump administration is basically doing the same thing as the previous administration?
No, I think they destroyed everything.
So why wouldn't Pam Bondi say that?
She doesn't have any proof of it. I'm just telling you what I think. I've been around this town enough. I think she's got over her skis pretty much, saying all this stuff. The files are on my desk. I'm going to release it. And then she releases stuff that I knew, so I just don't think, I think they all got out there, got a little excited, and I don't think they exist. And that's my currently. I think they did it. I think they did it one time. You got an administration that lied about it, said Hunter Biden didn't, his laptop, that didn't exist. That's a Russian, you had 30 of the
Right,
top
I know, I get all that.
intelligence people in the country say that, and they didn't get chastised by anybody but y'all and a couple others.
And that was Representative Tim Burchett, and he's telling the truth on this one. I believe that Pam Bondi, I mean, as much as she wanted to get the truth out there to us, she may have bit off a little bit more than what she could chew, more than what she bargained for. And, you know, she has to just walk back her statement and say, you know, guys, initially I thought I had a bunch. I thought I had all the evidence needed to, you know, show you guys what was going on. But after reviewing the files, this is nothing more than what we already know. It seems like the evidence or all the logs and the information that we were looking for has been destroyed long ago. Going back to my point, saying this cover-up was conducted long before the Trump administration took hold of the wheel. They got in office, and there is no information, no evidence for us to see. But of course, people are not going to let this one go. We got a tweet coming out in response to the reaction from Pam Bondi and President Donald Trump on the Epstein files. They basically dismissed it, saying what we're looking for does not exist. Mike Davis coming out, clearing the air, and kind of trying to reassure the American public that there is nothing shady going on behind the scenes. He says that the FBI, under the great leadership of Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, concluded the investigation. Pam Bondi explained what she meant by the file versus any list. She explained the minute reset every night. She can't release the child adult content. What more do people want done? Seriously. And honestly, I don't know what else folks want done. If they're going to say this is what it is, chalk it up to a big nothing burger, we have to kind of leave it at that. But of course, folks aren't going to stop pressuring this one because we want to know the truth. Only thing that kind of just blows my mind, or I'm still questioning, is the minute reset every night. I feel like that would have came out a long time, long before the file was released or the video was released. And that would have came out when they were saying they didn't have any video evidence back in the day. I feel like this would have been presented, but that one kind of still has a bunch of question marks circling around it for me. Then we got Kaizen Diasudo here on X with a very great point. He's saying that, initially he's saying that everyone is blaming Bondi, and it's because they don't have the guts or the gumption to blame President Donald Trump. Check out this clip. It's just a quick snippet.
Yet only 2 people have gone to prison. Trump's team didn't cause the Epstein scandal, and they deserve credit for giving us more transparency than we had from previous administrations. They partially followed through on a promise that they never had to make, but they also promised a reckoning. They set expectations and then failed to meet them. They hinted justice was coming and instead delivered photo ops with favorite influencers and excuses. Maybe it was just an embarrassingly mismanaged rollout. Maybe it's true that Pam Bondi misspoke and meant the Epstein files were on her desk, not a literal client list. Maybe it wasn't a cover-up, just a letdown. But for many people, the damage is done. Because at a certain point, incompetence and malevolence look exactly the same.
Yo, there we have it, guys. Oh my goodness. And I feel like our friend Kaizen put it very great and very simple for us, that incompetence definitely looks very similar to malevolence. And it just seems that Pam Bondi was not knowing. She did not have the knowledge that we thought she did. She was very confident. And I feel like she got in over her head because she really wanted to, you know, be that figure, be that person, that attorney general that really got things done, being the one on paper. That would be, you know, record stuff, that it would go down in the books as Pam Bondi releasing the truth. Trump coming into office, appoint this kick butt attorney general that, you know, just got straight to work, you know, doing and serving for the public. But I don't think she had that information. She did not. Obviously, we can see that she did not review it because of the way the binder roll out with the influencers. It went so left so quick. You get into the binders, you start looking, half the stuff's blacked out, and then the information that we can read or what's legible, it's a bunch of stuff that we already knew. So I'm not sure. I think this whole thing was incompetence. You guys definitely hop in that comment section. Comments are open. I'm excited to hear what you guys are thinking on this. Definitely make sure you guys hit that like, but hit that subscribe button. If you did enjoy more content like this, catch you guys on the next week.